And what are these programs that we have come up with? We have different programs at LSETF. One of those programs is loan programs. Under our loan programs, we have the Nano Loan Program, the MES Loan Program, the ME Loan Program, and the SME Loan Program. Nano Loan Program for those that are within the small space of business and non-structured business, very, very non-structured business. And these are just very small businesses, the likes of the pure water seller around your house, the Gary seller beside your house, all those small, small business owners are what we call nano. Their capacity is usually between it's usually between 50 to 100,000 naira. And then for the MES, we have the micro enterprise startup. These are business owners that just starting business. Maybe they have actually just acquired one skill or the other, and they are starting a business in that area of skills. And so we call them micro enterprise startup. Apologies, everyone. I was just basically thrown out. Network glitch. We're all in Nigeria here, and that happens on a regular. So sorry about that. It was just a network glitch, and I guess I continue from where I stopped concerning the loan categories at LSETF. I've mentioned SME. SMEs are the structured businesses, and they are businesses that have put in all of the required business growth structures to their business. And so the different loan categories available for each of these businesses. For the nano, we have up to the tune of 100,000 to lend. For the MES, we have up to the tune of 250,000 from 50,000 to lend. And also for ME, we have from the tune of 50,000 to 500,000 to lend. And also for SME, we have from the tune of 501 to 5 million to lend to the businesses within these categories, these various categories that I have mentioned. Also, there are some documentations that are very important in order for you to apply for LSTF loan. These documentations are that one, you have to have LASRA. LASRA is the ID card to show that you're a resident in Lagos. You do not necessarily have to be an indigent of Lagos, but at least you are a resident of Lagos. That means you reside in Lagos. And then we also have the tax ID to show that you are a taxpayer in Lagos State. And then for those that are just starting the business, you only just need the ID. You do not need to prove that you're paying the tax. You need the ID to show that once you're into the business, you definitely will be paying tax. And this is because we are being funded by taxpayers' money. Having said this, I'd like to implore that business owners should make do with leveraging on LSETF's own available loan program. It is 9% per annum for repayment, and that 9% cuts across one payment. That is, for 500,000, you would include 9% of 500,000 and then divide into 12 and pay monthly. That's like an annual payment. So that is like a very low interest rates in order to make it very easy for businesses to leverage on. So therefore, if you apply for a loan, you would be getting at least getting the feedback from us at least between the period of 12 to the maximum of 12 to at least 16 weeks. We would be reaching out to you. This is because we have internal processes that has to be followed before we are able to disburse the loan to you. The criteria for disbursement includes a KYC that will be carried out, where we will be visiting your place of business in order to validate all that you put down in the time of applying for the loan. And please bear in mind that upon getting the loan, you would be required to make a payment of 5% equity of the loaned amount. And so you must ensure that that is done, as that is part of the drawdown. For those that are in the SME space, you would need at least two guarantors, while other business categories need one guarantor. LSTF loan, like I said, is in order for us to help businesses expand, grow, and create job opportunities in Lagos State. We also have employability program that sees to training and upskilling young ones between the age of 18 to 35 in order to enable them to get, skills acquisition training. There are a lot of information about that on our website. We also have the Lagos Innovate for those in the tech space, even for business owners that would like to inculcate technology for their business growth. We have lots of opportunities for you in our Lagos Innovate. We have vouchers to help create that ideas and bring it to bed. We have different pitches and programs and incubation and acceleration. And we have investment readiness opportunities as well as pairing you with investors that would help to bring about that entrepreneurship creative mindset that you have and solve problems in Lagos State. And also we have the business support program, which is what we're having right now, which we support you with different capacity building opportunities that would expose you to information, educate you on how to position your business in all the space of the business space in terms of business development. We have marketing trainings, advisories. We have accounting, that's financial accounting. And we also have the legal regulations. We have the risk management, HR, and all that you need to position your business well. We give you trainings, physical and online. We support you with advisory, such as what we're having here, where you have experts speak to you and you can ask them one-on-one questions that can help your business. We also support you with incubation and acceleration program with our MSME bootcamp in order to help incubate you with a 4 weeks training that would help position your business and scale your business. We also have opportunities such as access to markets, where we help to expose your business and give it visibilities of all kinds that can help people get to know and get to know about your business and increase your sales and visibility that can help your business scale in all ramification. And so, having said all of this, I would love for participants to ensure that they visit our website on www.lsetf.ng and also ensure that you follow at LSETF on all social media platforms to enable you be first-hand informed on all the benefit that you can get from LSETF, particularly the business support benefit that you can use in scaling your business. All of this information I just gave you are for free. And the only one that you're paying back is the loan that you might be getting from LSETF. And it is a very small interest loan to enable you operate your business without fear and scale your business. Thank you all very much for listening. As I am speaking right now, I am hoping that you're visiting our website and as well as following at LSETF immediately while I am talking about all of that. You would see it on the chat box, the website, and you will also see it on the chat box, the necessary link to follow in order to follow LSETF on the social media platform. Thank you very much. And so going back into our conversion of today, why are we here today? Like I said earlier, when I was introducing, we have a very beautiful facilitator in the house today, and she will be taking us on the topic of understanding the tax law. We all are aware that the tax law has been enacted and it's definitely taking effect in the coming year. And while it is coming up to take effect, we need to position ourselves and be ready to make smart decisions for our business. And so she will be taking us on how to build financial decisions, financial literacy, make ourselves, educate ourselves in the financial sector of business, and so that would help us to know what would work for us, make the smart decisions that would work for us in terms of the new tax law. And so join me in the chat box. I'd like to see it buzzing to welcome Oluwayemisi Obe, MD ProTribe Astute Heights Limited. She will be taking us on our topic for today. Oluwayemisi, you're very much welcome. Thank you very much for taking on this facilitation this beautiful morning. I am not seeing it in the chat box that you're excited to have her on this morning. Thank you, Ahmed. Ahmed is saying welcome. Thank you so much, Ahmed. I'm sure it's not just Ahmed that we have here. Can others please welcome Oluwayemisi while she takes the floor? Thank you very much, Oluwayemisi. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Madam. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for the opportunity once again. I'm actually very, very happy to be here. It's a give back opportunity for me because I was once, or I'm an LSETF beneficiary. I got a loan from LSETF in 2016 to support my business. And then I think we got also the Lagos Care grant to support resilience during the COVID era. So I'm really, really happy to be here. So for me, it's like, giving back to someone or an organization that has actually supported me in the past. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I hope that at the end of the day, every one of us would have learned one thing or the other about the new tax laws that are coming up, and then even about tax generally, and then about how to make smart financial literate decisions for our businesses. Without much ado, I would want to go right into the presentation. I'll be sharing my slides with you. Um, yeah. So, first of all, I know we've heard this or adage that says that two things are sure for every adult in Nigeria or in the world. One is death, and then the other is taxes. Whether or not we like it, we have to pay taxes. And we have been told some of the things that Lagos State, or we can see some of the things that Lagos State government is doing with our taxes. Taxes are where governments all over the world get funding to be able to roll out development projects that better the lives of their citizens. So it's very, very important that we, pay taxes. And then another thing I would want to put on the table is there are two things about taxes. One is tax avoidance, the other is tax evasion. Tax evasion is you're doing things that are illegal and making you not to pay tax. So for example, you're supposed to pay your payee, you're not paying. That's tax evasion. And then there's tax avoidance. Tax avoidance is understanding the tax laws and finding ways you can make use of the provisions of the laws to reduce the amount of tax that you pay, either as an individual or as a business. So let's dive right in. So some of the taxes, first of all, I would want to talk about some of the taxes that we currently have in Nigeria. The first one for a business owner is the personal income tax. We're expected as business owners because we get salaries from our businesses, or we get some other income, maybe profit sharing from our businesses. So we're expected to declare at the end. I think usually for business owners, the declaration, I think it closes in the first quarter by March 31st. You should have filed in all your taxes. Then there is company income tax, which every business in Nigeria is expected to pay, or except you're exempted, and then you still file, and then you claim your exemptions. There's also value added taxes, which is a consumption tax that is placed on goods and services that are enjoyed within the shores of Nigeria. And then because there are exemptions to the amount, the revenue or the company size, so it's not every company that should charge VAT on their businesses or their on their businesses. So I'll get to that to let us know. So I think currently we have, for companies whose revenues are 25 million and below, you're not supposed to charge VAT on your goods and services that you render to your customers. Then there's withholding tax. Withholding tax is like an advanced tax for businesses and individuals. I'll give you examples. So if you put your money in fixed deposit and then you get an interest, or even on your savings account, I'm sure a lot of us have seen it. Sometimes you get the alert, you see a credit interest coming in, and then you see a debit charge called withholding tax. If you have your tax ID, that withholding tax is automatically sent to your tax account as a credit. So by the time you have taxes to pay, that withholding tax goes, you apply that withholding tax to reduce the amount of tax that you would pay to the government. So there's also business premises levies. Those of us in Lagos, we pay business premises once every year, which is 5,000 naira per annum. And then we have the development levy, which is, I think, 100 naira per staff that you have in your employment. Then there is the payee. The payee is the pay as you earn, which are the taxes that you are supposed to deduct from the salaries of your employees and remit to the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. Then there's property tax. Usually we call property tax, I think we also call it land use charge. Some of us would have seen, those demand notice being pasted on our doors or being dropped at our gate by the Lagos State government. Is to say, okay, you have this land, your land is in Lagos State, either you're using it for business or you're using it for your residential. There are rates that are applied based on the assessment of how much the value of that property is. And that's also dependent on the location of the property. So the land use charge that's a property that is maybe in Ojokoro would be much less than what a property that is on Allen would pay. So it's based on the location as well. Then there's capital gains tax. Capital gains tax are those taxes that you have to pay when you dispose of an asset. And then there are provisions in the law that says, okay, if you dispose, for example, for a business, you sell your business vehicle. If you're in that same year of assessment, if you apply that amount that you recovered from the sale or that you got from the sale of that vehicle to buy another vehicle for your business, you won't have to pay capital gains tax, except if the amount you realize from the sale of the vehicle is more than what you expended to buy the new vehicle. Then you pay capital gains tax on the difference, that you get. So, so just like I said before, taxes are actually dependent on the kind of business that you have. If you have a business name registered, some of these taxes you won't need to pay. If you're a business name, you will not need to pay company income tax, because as a business name, it's taken as that your business is an extension of yourself. So what you'll be filing will not be with FIRS, that's the Federal Inland Revenue Service, but you'll be filing with the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service as your personal income tax. So every activity that you have in your business, you now have two sides, that's income and expenses, and then the difference, getting your profits, is now what will be charged, what your assessment will be based on. And then also some taxes and levies differ by location. So in some areas, if you are maybe in not the highbrow areas, some of those levies or taxes that you pay, just like I've said before, could be lower than people who are located in more highbrow areas. Also, we have stamp duties. So currently, I'm sure a lot of us see stamp duties in our bank accounts. Now if you get, right now it's inflow of 10,000 naira and above in your account. I know it's now been called electronic money transfer, but it's still the stamp duty. You pay 50 naira on every inflow that you get that is above 10,000 naira. Aside that, when you have contracts, for your contracts to be admissible in the court as binding, you're supposed to have paid stamp duties to the court on your contracts, and usually a certain percentage on the total value of the contract. So even things like rent and things like that, you're supposed to pay stamp duties on it. Then we have the custom and excise duties. We have the NSITF levy, which is also the custom and excise duties are usually special duties that are applied by the law on some businesses. So I know for businesses that are into alcohol manufacturing, they pay these custom and excise duties on their businesses. And then also, as well, when you do importation or exportation, there are some custom duties that you also have to pay. All of those things are, for example, for the importation, you have the HS code that tells you based on the type of equipment that it is, if you're paying import duty or if import duty is exempted, and things like that. NSITF levy, which is usually a certain percentage of your monthly staff payroll. You're supposed to pay the LSCTF, you're supposed to register with NSI NSITF and then make those payments on a monthly basis. And what that does is that if there's any injury or accident or death, maybe in the course of work by any employee, and the NSITF would come in, pay the medical bills, pay their salaries during the period where they are incapacitated, and then give them, even if there's a death, they pay to the family a certain amount based on the annual salary that employee is earning. Then we have the Industrial Training Fund, we have the Tertiary Education Fund, the Police Trust Fund. All of these are usually like a charge on your profit after tax. And some, they are a charge on your assessable profit as a business. So all of these are majorly for businesses that are registered as a limited liability company in Nigeria and who are above the threshold of 25 million currently. And so if your revenue, your annual revenue is 25 million and above, you have to pay these things, these taxes when you're doing your annual filing with FIRS. Then we have the Nigeria Police Trust Fund. We have the National Information Technology Development Agency Fund. And then we have also National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure Fund. These particular ones, especially for the NASENIA and the NITDA, are usually for companies that are involved in technology-based businesses. That's as at 2025. That is changing in 2026 and beyond. Permits me to share with you just a few of those things that I've identified that would affect our businesses based on the new tax laws. So companies that earn, prior to now, it used to be 25 million. Once you earn, as a limited liability company, once you earn 25 million, you're exempted from paying the company income tax. So that 25 million now has been increased to 100 million. If your annual revenue is 100 million and is below 100 million, you are exempted from paying company income tax, which is usually 30% of your net profit and your net profit before tax. But if your annual revenue is above 100 million, you're expected to pay 30%. And then there is a development levy of 4% now on your profit after tax as well, apart from the 30%. So all of those police fund, education trust fund, NASENI, NITDA, all of them have now been rolled up to 4%. Prior to now, businesses that were not maybe into security or technology were not paying some, but now based on the new law, every business that is registered as a business and has 100 million and above sales revenue will be paying an additional 4% tax on their profit after tax. And then right now, prior to now, if you have a loan capital, so somebody invests in your business or you get a loan, that is, you get a loan, you didn't used to be subject to stamp duty. But right now, any loan that is above 12 months, you have to pay stamp duties. Usually a small amount anyway, but then that's also, is something to look out for so that we don't run foul of the law. Then also capital gains tax. Prior to now, capital gains tax used to be on tangible assets, but right now it's been expanded to cover disposal of digital and virtual assets like cryptos, tokens, and digital property. So you need to pay capital gains tax if there is a difference, if you gained between the time you bought it and when you're disposing of it. So, but there are exemptions. Same thing with the capital gains tax for tangible assets like property, vehicles. If you're using that same sales proceeds to buy assets in that same class, you are still exempted from paying capital gains tax on it. So also currently the VAT exemptions have also been expanded to include basic food items, medical and pharmaceutical products, education materials, electricity, prior to now, I remember that at least right now we still pay 7.5% on our electricity bill anytime we recharge. So I mean, from 2026, we see that coming down, meaning that, I mean, the cost of doing business would reduce a bit, by the time you're not paying 7.5% on your electricity. Then medical services, tuition at all educational levels, exported goods and services, and then electric vehicles. If you're selling electric vehicles or you're bringing in electric vehicles, you do not need to pay VAT as from 2026. Also, you have exemptions on baby products, agricultural equipment, educational performances, donor-funded humanitarian goods, real estate. So for the real estate, usually for real estate businesses, when you sell a property, you're supposed to pay VAT on the value of the property. So now the law has been clearly exempted those transactions from VAT. And then sorry. Okay, yeah, thank you. Then so currently, in the new tax law that is coming in 2026, there is a 5% surcharge that is chargeable on fossil fuel products. So likely would be seeing an increase in the cost of petroleum products, except for CNG and then gas. So that shows that, the government is looking at us moving towards cleaner fuels to run our everyday life in Nigeria. So likely we'll be seeing an increase in diesel.
Sorry, apologies everyone. I want to believe that our facilitator is also having that same technical glitch I had just a moment ago. Like I said, we're in Nigeria and we're not guaranteed that these things won't happen. So please just bear with us. But while you're doing that, please look at the chat box and scan the barcode that has been shared there for those that would love to apply for LSETF loan. Please apply and then put it on the chat box that you are in the process of applying, so we can also follow up with all of the people that would apply from this session. Thank you very much. And there we have it. Our facilitator is back. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry. We lost power and
I know,
our
right?
internet service also went
I've
off.
said that we're not guaranteed these things in Nigeria. So we're together. We're here. All right. You have the floor. Thank you.
I think you need to bump me up again so I can share my screen. Hello, madam. You need to bump me up so I can share my screen. Okay. Thank
Done,
you.
please. Done.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So You have we have income tax exemptions, just like I said, on charitable and educational institutions and agricultural institutions. And then we now have a tax incentive um, on 5% on your qualifying capital expenditure for 5 years. So, but that's restricted to manufacturing, mining, renewable energy, and agro processing. This, I believe, is, the government saying, okay, we are interested and we are ready to support businesses who are involved in the real sector rather than just trading. So if you're, adding value to your agricultural products, you're an agricultural processing company, renewable energy, mining or manufacturing, you would have, I think, 5% tax credit for qualifying expenditure on an annual basis for 5 years. Additional deductions are allowed for R&D. So if you're, doing your research and development, infrastructure investment, and then infrastructure investments and donations to eligible public interest institutions. Those deductions are allowed. Currently, based on the new tax law, banks must provide quarterly returns on their customer data and cumulative inflows or outflows of 25 million and above for individuals and 100 million and above for companies. I bet by the time those returns are done, at the end of the year, if you as an individual or a business, if you are not now, rendering your tax filing, the tax authorities have enough basis to come after you. And then now in the new year, late filing attracts 100,000 naira penalty in the first month and 50,000 naira for subsequent months. And all of this will have interest being accruable to them on the CBN, at the CBN MRR rates, which currently I think is about 30% per annum. So currently, I mean, as at 2025, penalty for late filing is 50,000 in the first month, and I think 5,000 naira for every subsequent month. But imagine this has been bumped up. That is to tell us that, oh, it is cheaper for you to file your taxes earlier, to do your company income tax earlier within the first 6 months, because usually at the end of the year, you have up to June 30th of this succeeding year to file your company income tax. Anything failing to do that will attract these penalties for as long as you hold out doing your filing as at when due. Then tax authorities may revoke petroleum or mining licenses for persistent non-payment of tax royalties or obligations. There are still other provisions of the law. So I will enjoin everybody to find time to lay hold of the tax laws, both the past one and the present one, because usually when those laws are enacted, they are usually enacted on the back of previous laws. So sometimes you can't just read the new law without referring to the old law. And if you get to the website of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, in the download section, you will find access, you will get access to all the tax laws that pertain to you and your business. And remember, ignorance is not an excuse in law. So we'll go back to our presentation. So what is financial literacy? Financial literacy are skills that every individual needs, whether or not you're running your business, whether or not you're running a business. You need to have an idea of money. How is money going out from you? How is it coming in? What are the things that you can do to earn more money, even with the little that you have? So financial literacy is to say, okay, I need to develop my understanding of money so that it will help me to make the right financial decisions, and then to know where to go to access financial resources. It also helps us, or sorry, it involves understanding of our earning, that's your income as a business. So for example, let me just use this as an example. Sometimes a business owner, your business is selling, maybe it's cream. At the end of the month, you sell cream to your customers and you get money. That's part of your revenue. If you're doing training as part of your business, that is also part of your business revenue. If you're selling, maybe people come, okay, you have waste products, maybe like oils, or you have cartons that people are buying, it is still part of your business revenue. Financial literacy is also also covers our understanding of budgeting, our understanding of forecasting, our understanding of loans and borrowing, our spending and the plans that we have to spend, and then investment. So for example, recently, I think somebody reached out to me, a microfinance company, they reached out to me and said, oh, they want to advance us loans. And I asked, okay, what's the interest rate on the loan? The guy said 3.5%. I said, 3.5% what? Is it per month? Is it per annum? He said, no, it's just 3.5%. I said, well, I don't understand what you're saying, but for me, if you're saying it's 3.5%, that means if I'm going to annualize this, I will have to multiply this 3.5% times 12, because if you're saying 3.5%, it is 3.5% in a month multiplied by 12. That's giving me, I think, about 42%. I said, that's higher than what the banks would give me. I'm not sure is the right thing for me to take that loan from you. So having an understanding of this kind of thing help us as business owners to make the right financial decisions, so that we don't run our businesses into problem and begin to develop high blood pressure or sleepless nights because we are unable to meet up with our business obligations, or creditors are pulling us here and there. What are the key elements that are included in financial literacy? Taxation, we've talked a lot about taxation. Your income and expenses, your assets, budgeting, profits, cash flow management, financing options, financial statements, debt management. Also, pricing is also very, very important is also a key element of financial literacy. Knowing what goes into the pricing of your products. For example, I see a lot of business owners, they are just interested in, oh, I bought my corn at 5,000 naira, so that's the only cost I'm going to be expending. The fact that you are still doing business in your home doesn't mean that they are not costs to doing business in your home. If you're taking a room to manage your business in your home, the cost of that room is a cost to your business. And because by the time your business grows and you want to go out there, if you have not been recognizing some of these costs, you're going to be running at a loss by the time you get to the point that you want to expand your business. So for example, you take taxis to the market, or you spend time to do the mixing and all of that. If you're not putting in, aggregating all the costs, knowing that, oh, all of these things are cost to my business, and they should be recognized in the cost of my products, you will, at the end of the day, run at a loss. Also, maybe things like for your assets, you buy your mixing bowl, you buy spatulas, you buy filling machines and things like that. If you're not able to understand that all of these things, they are cost to your business, and you have to spread that cost over the time that you believe that these assets will be useful. So for example, a lot of the sealing machines that we buy in Nigeria, by the time you're using it for 1 year, sometimes it's already maybe at a point where it's no longer repairable. So such an asset, you know that, oh, if I buy this, within the 1 year, I have to apply the full cost to my profits, because if you don't do that, by the time it's time for you to replace those assets, you won't have enough money to be able to replace the assets. So then also budgeting. So not just spending money, as the money is coming in, it's going out and all of that. You have to know that, okay, if I've planned that, you have to have plans in place actually to say, okay, this month, based on, there are different ways that you can do your budgeting and your planning. You can say, okay, based on the historical, this time last year, we sold, maybe 500 bottles of kunu. So likely because it is rainy season and it's still the same time as last year, maybe we sell 600 because yes, the people that bought from us last year, and then we've also, we're putting in additional marketing activities to gather new customers. So, okay, so we're expecting 600 bottles for this month. What is the amount that I need to buy my raw materials? How much do I need to buy the grains? How much do I need to buy the bottles? How much do I need to buy the stickers and all of that? Okay, how much do we have in our account right now? Are all of these customers, are they cash paying customers? If they are not cash paying customers, based on your understanding of your customers, what percentage of your customers pay cash? So if you have this amount in your bank account and maybe 50% of the people that are buying the 600 bottles pay cash, you add that. Is that enough to fund your business for that 1 month, inclusive staff salary, electricity bill, and all the other things? No, if it is not enough, then you need to start looking for ways to get funding for your business. And part of the ways you can get funding for your business is you could go to the bank to get a loan, or you could talk to your suppliers that, oh, can I delay paying 100% on on these goods that I'm buying from you, maybe in 2 weeks or in a month, based on your reputation with them, they will be able to advance you some credit. And then also you could talk to your customers, say, oh, if you're buying, especially the customers that, buy from you on credit, oh, if you buy and you pay within the next 1 week, I will give you 1% discount on it, and things like that. Everybody likes to hear discounts. I'm sure that will convert some people to pay you ahead of when they would have paid you. So those are part of the things that we need to, that we get when we are financial literate and we apply those financial literacy skills to our business. Financing options, I think I've talked a little about it, to say, okay, this person is offering you 40% per annum, another person is offering you 9%, but nevertheless, if you look at the time it will take for you to access the funds from the person giving you 9% compared to the person giving you 30%, you can say, okay, just so that I can buy this equipment, so I can do this business transaction, let me quickly take this 30%. In the next 1 month, by the time I'm able to get the loan from the 9%, I will use it to offset. So those are part of the things that, we're able to do when we are financial literate and we have our eyes on our business numbers. What are the advantages of financial literacy? One of it, just like I've said, is to make informed decision. Where am I going? What are the options? What is the cost of the options? Do I have any other cheaper alternative that will still give me the same outcome? Because sometimes I usually see this on social media, when they will show something and say it's because the person said I could buy it cheaper or I found it cheaper, and then you're getting something that is totally different, something that is, not even usable by you. So making informed decision is not just to focus on getting it cheaper, is focusing on getting it cheaper and still getting value for your money at the right quality. It helps you to focus more on your business performance. So I'll give you an example. There was a time, I think maybe a few years ago, we were doing the review of our accounts, and then we saw that we were spending a lot on a particular equipment because the equipment was always breaking down. And by the time we aggregated the amount, and then even the downtime and all of that, we looked at it that, this equipment is, spending is costing us a lot of money. What else can we do? So we went out there and found another equipment, because that equipment, I think it was 3 of them all together that were giving us those headaches. We now found one equipment that was more expensive than the 3 of them combined, but there was zero maintenance cost on it, and there was zero downtime. So if we were not looking at our numbers, we wouldn't have been able to even see that this equipment is costing us excessive money. And then we wouldn't be able to see, by the time we're comparing the cost of that equipment to the cost of the ones that we had, and adding up the expenses that we incurred on them, we will not be able to make the right decision. we will just still have been suffering and saying, let's continue to manage. It improves your access to capital. If you're able to understand your numbers or you are financial literate, it will spur you to make sure that your accounts, that your records are in place, your accounts are done properly. And then you will even be able to understand by the time your financiers or investors are talking to you, you'll be able to flow on the same level with them. You'll be able to understand, you'll be able to give them other options than even what they're offering you. And then also, usually maybe you want to take a loan from the bank. They will ask you, yeah, go and bring your cash flow statement, go and bring your profit and loss accounts, go and bring your balance sheet, go and bring your forecast. If you are not financial literate, you won't be able to provide those information, and you would be cheating yourself out of capital that could get that you could get for your business. Even for people that give grants, people that give grants, that who are the venture capitalists or angel investors, they want to see how well you're doing. And it's not just for maybe an accountant to prepare those accounts for you, because by the time you're doing your pitch, you're presenting, there's no accountant there to present on your behalf. You as the business owner is the person that will sit or that will stand in front of the panel to present your business. So you have to have an understanding of your numbers, of your business, and the financial sector of your business. Let me just use that word to be able to converse well with fund providers for your business. It enhances your budget and planning and forecasting abilities. I've talked about that already. It also helps you in navigating the regulatory and tax compliance. If you're not financially literate, especially when it comes to taxation, you would run into problem. Then also, you won't even be able to enjoy incentives that are available for you in the system. I remember that when we started our business, and I said, based on what I was taught in school, I could enjoy pioneer status. I didn't realize at that time that, the provisions for the pioneer status had changed. By the time I realized and was putting steps in place to access it and all of that, I'd missed out on it. So it's important for business owners to ensure that every law or every tax document that that are out there, we understand it. Even if you can't read it or you can't understand it directly, you can talk to financial consultants or go online, research, okay, what's the impact of this on a small business and things like that. There are already write-ups that are there for you to educate you. Then it also boosts your confidence. Imagine somebody just walks up to you or you're talking to people and they're saying, what's your annual revenue? Something like that. If you are financially literate, you would already know what your annual revenue for the past year is, and you would even be able to say, okay, this is what we are planning to achieve for the current year or even the years after. So it boosts your confidence. It makes you to portray yourself as somebody who knows what he or she is doing. It protects your business from you making the wrong financial decisions. I've seen people who take short-term loans for long-term business needs. I'll give you an example. You want to buy a land where you want to build your company or your head office or something, and then you go take a 6 months loan or an overdraft from the bank. Not that you're expecting a bulk amount of money from somebody that is owing you, or you have money, or maybe an investor is bringing in money. You're saying, I'm going to be able to sell my goods and be able to pay this bank back in 6 months. Knowing full well that, or not knowing that, if you were financially literate and you were on top of your numbers, you would have seen that, if I'm taking this amount of loan, based on my trajectory and my plan, I won't be able to meet up. So that would, if you take such loans, or maybe you go to I want to call them money doublers. They are not money doublers, or what do you call these people? These loan apps, taking loans from loan apps who charge, I think, is it 5% daily to fund a business that that the income is not going to come in until the next 3, 4, 5 months. That's suicide for your business. And then by the time everybody starts pulling you, for every day that you don't pay your financial obligation in terms of loans, your interest continues to increase. That's the reason why some people will take a loan for 5 million naira. By the time they are ready to pay, the loan has turned to 10 million or even 100 million. And remember that these days, there's credit reports now. So for banks that want to loan you money, they will do a credit search on you. If you're owing other people and you've not paid in the past years, that credit report will show that you are a perpetual debtor, and then they will not be able to advance that money to you. Even sometimes venture capitalists also do it. They check just to check for the character of the person whom they are doing business with. It helps you to manage risk. I think I've talked about that already. What are the steps that we need to enhance our financial literacy? The first is what I've talked about, acquiring knowledge about financial literacy. Going, Google is our friend. We have a lot of information out there right now. Just, typing it in Google. What are the things that I need to do to be a financial literate business owner? And it will be spelled out to you. And then also, learning to read financial statements is also important. I actually want us to do a simple exercise. So we have, these are the three major financial statements. I think there are about 4 or 5 of them, because there's also a statement of equity, movement or something like that. So I have so I want to open this now. This is I'm not sure I'll be able to, okay, let me just go up. This is a balance sheet of Cadbury for 2024. It was released, I think, in March 2025. Let me make it a bit bigger. So this is their 2024, and this is their 2023. Being financial literate as a business person helps you to be able to compare even prior periods. You can compare last week to this week to understand what happened and what you could do better. You can compare last month to this month. You can compare this month to this last year, same month last year, to see what your movements were like. And you can compare a full year to a previous year as well. So this is Cadbury. If we're looking at their annual report, we see that in 2023, their total assets was 24 billion. And in 2024, their total assets is 33 billion. So that means they've been able to grow their assets by 9 billion. Nevertheless, if we apply the exchange rates, the CBN exchange rates to this statement, it will be able to tell us whether they are doing better or whether they are doing badly. Those are part of the things that we need to do as business owners. When you're looking at your records, you're comparing last year to this year, don't just look at the absolute numbers. Look at, the foreign business aspect of it, of the foreign value. Because there are times that people that want to give you grants, they're asking you, how much was your business revenue last year in USD or in Euro or in GBP, depending on the country of the person that is bringing in the funds. We're looking at their retained loss. In 2023, their loss was 15 billion. Now the loss has increased by another 22 billion. What happened? As a business owner, when you look at things like this, those are the questions that you begin to ask yourself. What happened? Why am I experiencing a loss? What did I do differently, or what didn't I do? And what can I do to forestall a future occurrence of the loss, or to reduce my loss in the future? So this is, I'm trying to have, I'm trying to open the P&L, and then this is the cash flow statement, but I don't really know why I'm unable to. So let me see again. Okay. So this is still same Cadbury for 2024, their P&L accounts. You can see their revenue was 129 billion in 2024, and whilst it was 80 billion in 2023. I think they've been able to grow their revenue by about 25%. Yes, about 25%. Is it 25 or 50? About 50% over what they did. So this is about 150% of what they did in 2023. So those are part of the things, that you would look at as a business person after you put all your revenue together. And then sometimes you could even go ahead and break this revenue based on the different product lines that you have. So it helps you to understand which product is selling more, which product do my customers like the best. And it helps you to, focus, put more attention on those kind of products. And then their gross profits increased from 63 billion to 110 billion. What happened? Is it, those are part of the questions that you would have to ask. Then they had, I think they didn't have any impairment. So what took a lot of their money in 2023, based on what I'm seeing here, is finance cost. I think their finance cost, although it was higher in 2023 than 2024, but their finance cost for 2020, because by the time you take out this 34 billion from this, they would have turned a profit of about 12 billion. So as a business person, if you're looking at your finance cost and your finance cost is so high, that already tells you that, oh, do I need to be taking loans, or do I invite equity partners into my business so that I can reduce my finance cost? And then this is the cash flow statement, still for same Cadbury. So cash flow statement just tells you how money came into your business and how it went out and what was left for your business to use. So remember that there's this saying that cash is king, which is very, very important, because if you have cash in your hand, maybe you are in the store and you are telling the person, I want to buy this thing for 10 naira. Okay, bring out the money. Let me even see first. Once you bring out the money, you're able to, you can flex a bit more. So having cash in your hand helps you to flex as a business person. It helps you to meet your operational expenses. It helps you to invest further in your business. So by the time you're looking at it, your cash flow, what are all the cash that came in? So you first of all pick your loss or your profit, and then you add back those non-cash items, things like the depreciation. Remember that depreciation is just you setting money aside for using the asset, and then to ensure that you have money to be able to replace the asset at the end of the useful life of that asset. So you add back all those non-cash expenses to your profit, and then you do, it's a bit techy anyway for non-finance professionals, but then the bottom line is that you know what is happening to your cash. What's your cash position at the beginning and at the end? So see now for Cadbury, their beginning cash position was 20 billion. Their ending cash position was 16 billion. That means they were worse off when you're talking about cash. But it could be that, so another thing you will now say is that, what did you spend the cash on? It could be that they spent, some of their cash in buying equipment. So definitely you won't have the cash, but then you have the equipment. So it also helps us to make the right financial decisions. So another step to enhancing your financial literacy is to ensure that you hire a financial or tax consultant, somebody whose job it is to manage your business finance or your tax. Remember that I usually tell bankers, especially when I go to the bank and I'm there and they are wasting my time, I tell them, do you know what? This is your own office. I can't spend the whole day in your own office. You're doing your own business or you're doing your own work here. I have to go to my own business. I have to go back to my business. So please answer me, let me go, attend to me, let me leave and go face my business. So that's the same thing. Hire, because if you do not have the competence, especially if you're not an accountant, you're not a tax professional, it may not be that easy for you, to navigate all of these things. But if you have a tax consultant working with you, they will be able to explain to you, they will be able to support you in putting your books together, in doing your tax filings and all your financial filings that you need. Also, it's important that you also have a legal consultant as well, because there are also filings that you need to do with CAC as a registered business. And then you also spend time to learn from your bankers. Like prior to when I got on this meeting, I had conversations with two of my bankers talking about the products that they have and how they can support my business. So because if you're having those constant conversations, it helps you to be able to make informed decisions. It helps you to have information. So by the time somebody is offering you to say, okay, come and invest in my business, or I want to invest in your business and I want to take 50% of your business for 5 million that I'm bringing. And you know that 5 million, you can get it from your banker. Why won't you tell the person, sorry, I don't need your 5 million because I can get it? Because this 5 million that you want to bring and take 50% of my business, I've valued my business based on the conversations I've had with my bankers, and this is the value of my business. Your 5 million is not equal to 50% of my business. Then to enhance your financial literacy, try your hands on doing budgets for your business. Start, there are budget templates online that you can use. Not everything will relate to your business, but you can delete, the ones that don't relate to your business. Try it, You could even, first of all, when you get the budgeting template, you could apply your past financial information to it so that it helps you to see things, and then you now be able to forecast for the future and then, put it in the budget. It also helps you so that you don't overspend, so that you can negotiate sometimes, with providers. Then you can use financial management tools, things like invoicing apps, things like enterprise resource planning systems, that ERPs, things like accounting systems. There are some that are easy, even for non-financial finance professionals to use. So you can, check them out. I know there's Wave app for invoicing, so you can check them out. And then for another step to enhance financial literacy is to follow your money. Understand what is happening in your business. Understand how much your business is supposed to be bringing in on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, so that if things are not going well, you can quickly pinpoint or pick it up and say, oh, this thing is not going well. This is what my expectations are. Why is it not going well? That variance analysis will help you to say, okay, these are the things that are not going well. Because sometimes if you're not following your money, even staff could be pilfering, they could be stealing from you and you won't know. So being financial literate helps you to plug those leakages in your business. So what are some other smart decisions that we can take that impact our business? Number one is choosing the right business form. So when I'm talking about business form, making a decision whether to register your business as a limited liability company or a business name. I know a lot of times when we are starting, most of us will register business name, and then as things begin to shape up, we convert to limited liability company. The reason why it's better to have limited liability companies at some point in time is, number one, if you want to do business with maybe venture capitalists, they wouldn't want to do business with a business name. If you want to maybe do business with even, I think, the federal government, maybe you want to supply or you want to do consulting for them, most of the time, I'm not sure that they accept for business names to do business with them. So sometimes business names expands the opportunity and limited liability companies expand the opportunity and the horizon within which you can, run your business. And then it's also for your own tax reliefs as well, even for the individual, because if you are a business name, there is not all you will not get capital allowance. You will not, there are some things that you won't get as a business name, which you will get, which are like incentives for running your business, which you will get if you are a limited liability company. So usually by the time you're moving and your revenue is getting to a certain point and you want to expand the horizon of your business, it is recommended that you change form from business name to limited liability company. And then also limited liability company is limited to the shares that you have in the company. If anything goes wrong or creditors or whatever, most of the time they will not now come and start putting a lien on your personal house or on your vehicle or on the cash in your own account, except if it has been traced that there were some financial financial, I can call it fraud, that you did on your business as a business owner. That's when the veil can be lifted to get to you as a business owner. But most of the time, a business as a limited liability can be sued, can sue, can enter, like it's just like a human being that is separate from you as an individual. I think the second one, I talked about it before, understanding the tax laws. As I said before, ignorance is not an excuse before the law. And a lot of times, do not wait for ESA. Find it in the document, find the documentation, read it, understand it. If you don't, talk to a financial consultant who can explain it to you. Then understanding all the laws that are governing your business. I can tell you there are so many laws that govern our business. For example, there was a time our products were taken, I think, to Aba for market activation. And then somebody there called and said, FCCP said they were going to, FCCPC said they were going to impound the products because we're supposed to have done some registration with them. I had never heard of it before, but I went, okay, give me the law that, Then I went and I read the law and I said, okay, we need to do this application and things like that. So not knowing is not an excuse. As a business, what aspect of business are you in? What are the laws that are governing your business? Google is your friend. For us that have companies, there's something about companies Act or something like that. Something about, I think it's Companies Act that they call it. And it's the Ministry of Labor, Federal Ministry of Labor that governs that. They will come and say, okay, even before you build your factory, you're supposed to have come to get approval. They are supposed to have come to inspect. All of those things are in the law. For example, if you're doing pest control, you can't just carry anybody to come and say they should do pest control in your business premises. They have to be registered with the local government where your business is located. All of these things are in the law. So understanding the law helps us to, avoid issues with the regulatory agencies. And then it also helps us to avoid having to beg when we are caught doing the wrong thing, whether we knew or not. Then another smart business decision that a lot of business owners do not do is separating personal funds from business funds. If your business funds, if all your business funds is passing through your personal account, and then you want to apply for a grant or you want to apply for a loan, and then they're telling you, okay, bring your annual accounts. You are a limited liability company. Bring your annual accounts, and then you bring the annual accounts. Bring your bank statement. You remember that you cannot bring a bank statement that is bearing your personal name. You have to bring the bank statement that is bearing your business name. So bringing a bank statement that is showing 0 transaction, and then you're telling them, oh, you did 25 million naira last year. How are they going to marry that together? They'll just tell you that you are not an upright person or you're not a serious person. So it's also very, very important that we separate our business funds from our personal funds. And we don't look at our businesses as an extension of ourselves, just dipping our money into the purse when there's money. We have to separate it. We have to ensure that we pay ourselves salary at the end of the month, and you just try and manage yourself within your means. Making sure that we record all our financial transactions is a very smart decision that impacts your business, because whether you like it or not, at some point in time, you'll get to the point where the tax officials will come around to do an audit of your accounts. If they're asking you for your documents and you don't have anything to show, definitely they will just slam you, they will slam you tax on the revenue that you have reported, whether or not it's even in your bank statement or not. They will slam you the capital, the company income tax on your revenue, and then they will disallow all the expenses because you do not have documents to show. Collecting and keeping invoices and receipts is very important. Those are part of the documents that we use as backup for when we're doing tax audits, when we're doing external audits, for our books to be approved before we file with the tax officials or CAC. Then filing all the necessary taxes and documents with, like CAC, LIRS. So for example, for LIRS, I think by 31st of January of a succeeding year, you would be required to have filed details of the payee that you remitted on behalf of your staff in the previous year. And it's very important. If you don't, I think there is a penalty. Is it 50,000 or 500,000? And then also there could be a jail term if you are taken to court for not doing the right thing by the tax officials. And then also, then there is VAT for people that are liable to pay VAT, to charge VAT. You're supposed to do your VAT returns every month. I think by 20th of the next month, you should have filed in your VAT returns for the preceding month, whether or not your product is VAT exempt, whether or not your product is VAT exempt. So for example, the product that my company produces, Grandiose Pap, is a basic food item, is VAT exempt, but every month we make sure that we file our VAT returns, we file 0 returns. So whether or not you're exempted does not mean that you should not file your returns. And then obtaining the relevant regulatory approvals. Things like, so for me, I'm governed by NAFDAC, I'm governed by SON, making sure that we get all those approvals and we don't wait till the approval that we have expires before we start processing for the next one. And then another smart business decision that we need to take as business owners is to look at, focus on collaboration, collaborating with other businesses and networking with other businesses and other business owners. How can we do that? Things like LSCTF now, by the time you're a beneficiary of the LSCTF loan, you could be put in a WhatsApp group, whereby you network with people who are of like minds with you, people who are doing the same kind of business with you, or a business that is complementary to your business. I've had instances where we've had, due to networking and collaboration, we've had instances where we sell our pap in bulk, even to other people who are repackaging or using it as their own raw material into the product that they are doing. If I was just by myself in my own little corner, not networking, not relating with other business owners, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. We've had the opportunity to work with people who are selling beans, flour, and things like that. Things like that, collaboration. We've had the opportunity of getting suppliers for our grains, for our raw materials, to talk to people, even when you have issues, having people who understand. Because for me, I came from paid employment to start my business. If I'm calling my friends who we were together in paid employment and I'm telling them my business issues, they won't be able to help me because we are in 2 different worlds. But having, a network of like-minded people, business owners, and saying, oh, how are you able to do this? Do you have an accounting firm that is helping you? How much are they charging? Let me compare to what this person wants to charge me. And are they rendering the right services? Or can we come together and say, okay, as a group of 5, we want to talk to this accounting firm. Can you render accounting services to us or whatever other services at a discounted rate? So being able to network and collaborate helps us even sometimes to even reduce the cost of doing our business. Thank you so much. That's the end of my presentation. The floor is open for questions.
Well done, Iyemisi. That was a very, very packed presentation and very educative. I can see it in the chat box that we all actually learned. I mean, it was really, really educative. And if we go by everything that has been shared on the presentation, I want to believe that we would be able to position our businesses better as we are getting ready, either we like it or not, as business owners. If the tax reform has come to stay, and the least we can do is to take every bit of the information shared on this platform today and make good use of them. How do you ensure that you understand what it takes for you, the levies that is expected of you, your personal income levy, your company income, the value added tax? So for the value added tax, let me see, I'm even also not too versatile in terms of information for the value added tax until I was educated recently that for everything we buy and a VAT is being charged, we are supposed to actually have like the information so that when we are filing, these are part of the things that we would file up to say, I have actually made payment in the regards of A, B, C, D, and E. As small as those things that we buy that we actually do not know that we're paying VAT for. And those things really matters, particularly for we small business owners, because you always buy, you always do transactions in terms of your business. And so you need to have all of these very minute information, but very important information to file your report so as to even position you so that at the end of the day, what you might be paying might just be very minute or put you at the advantage of not even paying anything at all. And so it really, really matters. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Yemisi. Thank you for everything that you've taught us. Thank you for letting us know how to, marry the financials for our business and as well as position it for this tax reform in terms of all that we need to learn: the taxation, our income, our expenses, our assets, even in our budget, in order for us to put, everything in place and plan properly for the tax reform. Thank you very, very much. And I can see that a lot of the participants are saying a very big thank you, at the same time throwing out their questions. And so I think it's time for us to then dive into the Q&A, where we're able to unmute some of the participants and allow them to have a direct question and answer time with you. And so I would like for us to raise our hand if we have any question. But while we are at that, I would read out the ones that are coming. I think I have question here. Okay. Thank you very much, Olalekon. Very engaging. I must agree with you. Thank you very much. So, Omolara Orireton is asking, as a micro limited business, where and how do we file annual returns? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, Omolara. So if you're a limited liability company, just like I said before, so for you to know whether you're a limited liability company or a business name, you take the certificate, the business registration certificate that you have with you. And that's from the Corporate Affairs Commission, because I saw somebody was asking what CAC is. CAC is the Corporate Affairs Commission. They are the body that registers businesses in Nigeria. So if you take your certificate, if there is BN before the number, that's your registers as a business name. If there is RC before your number, then that means you're a limited liability company. So if you're a limited liability company, you would have to file with FIRS, that's the Federal Inland Revenue Service. There is usually, for every local government, there is an FIRS office. So all you need to do is to find that office in and they are usually in the central business district area of that local government. So you could get on Google, depending on where you are, FRS office near me, you will find somewhere. And if you don't, whichever one you find and you go there, they will tell you where the office in your area is. And then recently, I think as far back as about 4 years or 5 years now, if you register your business, you already have a TIN. That's the tax identification number for your business. And it's expected that you'd have even done your registration, even with the tax office in your area. So if you haven't done all of that, it's a good thing that you start to do it now. That's for a limited liability company. For a business name, which I'd said before, that is like an extension of yourself, you do an annual return every year on the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service website. Now you can do it by yourself, or by the time you put all the numbers together, you can send to your financial consultant to look at it, and then you create access. You create a profile on the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service portal as a taxpayer, and then you can now file your return there. If you don't know how to do it, your financial consultant or your tax consultant will be able to do it for you. And then for the annual return with the Corporate Affairs Commission, is part of what is in the Company and Allied Matters Act, whereby every year businesses are supposed to file their annual return. So after you've done your accounting, your financial statements and all of that, you take it to CAC, the CAC office near you. And I think you can also now file online. So if you still don't know how to do that, you could tell to a legal advisor or to your financial consultant. They will also be able to help you to do that. I hope I've been able to answer your question, Omolara.
Yes. Thank you.
We're always happy to hear that your questions are well attended to. And do you still have another question, Omolara, because your hand is still up, or is still the very question that you asked already?
I just wanted to tell her that I used to be a business name, but about 3 months ago, I changed to limited liability company. So, because
Okay,
she was explain how to identify.
Do you have a TIN? Did a TIN come as soon as you registered? A TIN should have come to your email.
I can't remember. Well, I'll ask the person that did it for me.
Okay.
Still in contact.
It's important because now you are
I used to have a TIN for the business name, but for this limited liability, I don't know if he came with a TIN. I'll ask him. I can't remember.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
You're welcome, Omolara. Thank you. You can please put your hand down now because it's still up so that hand would not be paining you. Okay. So the next question I have here says that should I, as a business name, charge VAT?
Thank you very much, Olalekan, for the question. So as I'd said before, I think as at now, till the end of this year, as a business name whose turnover is 25 million and below, you are not expected to charge VAT. But if your turnover is 25 million and above, and your business or the service or products that you are rendering in your business are not exempted from VAT, then it's expected that you charge VAT and that you remit the VAT to Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. Remember that I said for limited liability companies, most of the things we do are with FRS. For business names, which are like an extension of the individual, most of the things you do are with LRS. So you have to charge VAT if your turnover is above 25 million now. But from next year, the threshold has been increased. If your turnover is lower than 100 million, you do not need to charge VAT. But if it is above 100 million, you would need to charge VAT and remit.
Thank you very much. I hope that answers you, Olalekan Jesuloloa. Okay, Farouk Oladapo is saying, are filing annual CAC returns in any way different from filing annual tax returns? I think it's a valid question because most of the time people always mix those two things together. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Farouk, for your question. Yes, there are two different things, and there are two different bodies that you're filing with. So, for the for the annual returns with CAC, that's with the Corporate Affairs Commission. That's to show that your business is still alive, your business is working, your business is, your business is still okay. And that's the reason why they're saying that they are striking up names of businesses that have not filed annual returns that I think maybe 10 years prior or something. Because to them, that means that those businesses, they are not okay, they are not alive. Those businesses are not alive. And then once they strike out your name as a business owner, there is no way, if you want to open an account in that business name or in that business name, you would not be able to, because part of the requirement from banks is if you're opening a business account with a bank, they have to do your search with the Corporate Affairs Commission. If the name of your business or your business has been struck out in their register, there is no way they will be able to find your name and you will not be able to open that account. So likely you might have to go and open a new business name. Now, filing with your annual tax. So for filing with CAC, I think it's a nominal amount. It's not based on your revenue. It's not based on anything. There's just a nominal amount that you have to pay. I think it used to be 5,000 naira. I don't know how much it is now. Then for filing annual returns, tax returns with your tax officials, that is your company income tax if you're a limited liability company, and your personal income tax if you're a registered business name or a registered partnership. So there are two different things. If you're a registered business name or registered partnership, you file with Lagos State Internal Revenue Service or the Internal Revenue Service of the state where your business is located and where you are resident. And if you're a limited liability company, you file with the FRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service. I know the name is going to be changing from 2026 to Nigeria Revenue Service, NRS. I hope I was able to answer your question, Farouk.
Yes, perfect. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Farouk. I'm happy that your question was answered. And so, okay, I guess Farouk was the last person that had a question. If any other person has any question, you can please raise your hand and we would share the question. Farouk still has a question, or is it the same hand that has been up?
Yes, thank you very much, ma. Thank you. I appreciate you. Please, another question is that for a business name that hasn't filed its annual tax for like over a year now, what are the possible implications and how can we go about resolving it? The business earns less than 25 million, so doesn't seem to be eligible to pay tax, but from your presentation, we are still required to file. So how can we go about filing it, and what are the possible implications for not filing it for over a year? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Farouk, for your question. Yes, you still need to file whether or not you meet the threshold to pay tax. Paying tax is different from filing. Now, if you have not filed, these days it's automated by the time you're filing in Tax Pro Max. That's for FRS. It's automated. Once you file, it calculates all your penalties back, and then you have to pay before you can go on. Remember that at some point in time, as a business person, you could get, maybe you want to do a deal or the other, and they're asking you for your tax clearance. So it's important that you do it, because you never can tell when that will be required. And remember that now it is 50,000 naira in the first month, and I think 5,000 naira for every month for which you haven't. By 2026, that amount is increasing to 100,000 naira in the first month and 50,000 naira in every subsequent month. And usually the tax officials, they won't say because you did not file You were supposed to have filed in 2024 and you didn't file. So the penalty will be based on what was applicable in 2024. That's if you're filing in 2026. So I would enjoin everybody who has not filed to rush and go and file now, so that whatever penalty and all of that you have, you can, well, it will be there. Then you can now go to your FRS office to tell them, okay, this is the penalty, this is how much it is. If you don't have the money to pay everything in full, you can actually negotiate with them to say, okay, can I be paying it on a monthly basis? You know, things like that. They actually, they relate with us, and they understand that some of these things, you know, could be quite expensive for them. But that you will not pay, you will pay, except you are closing the company, and they can still find you once the name is there. So it's important that we pay, I mean, we file and pay the penalty.
All right, thank you very much for that response and clarification here, Missy. I agree. It's very important for us to file. Even for the CAC, it's important for you to as well file. And this would in every way ensure that your business is covered in terms of being on the other side of the law and not finding yourself in that position. I have Samson Din. His hand is up, but Amosi, you can please unmute and ask your question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the privilege, and I appreciate our facilitator. Please, I want to get clarity. As a business owner, please, which of these taxes is actually due to FIRS? Which one is due to LARS? Some of us, we get confused and we feel being double taxed. You must have been paying, your VAT, which will be removed from your income. You pay withholding tax, and I think the Lagos State government tax officials to always come around to try to make us pay other taxes, which ordinarily we do not have, that clarity, on them. So I wouldn't know if you have answered this question in the course of your presentation. So is it that certain taxes are meant to be paid for both, federal FIRS and LARS, or they have different taxes that they actually collect from business owner? Please, I need clarity on this. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. So as I had said, that, when I was going through the presentation, as a limited liability company, majority of your taxes are with FIRS, but some are with LRS, anything that is doing them that's relating to the individual. So for example, the payee is the tax that you deduct from the salary of your employees. You're supposed to pay to Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. If anybody does any kind of supply contracts for you and you deduct, that's for the individual. You're supposed to deduct a withholding tax from the value of the contract and remit on behalf of that individual to the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. You're supposed to get the person's payer ID. Those are part of the information that you need to do that remittance, whereby it is a limited liability company that rendered supply contracts to you, supply contracts or consultancy services and things like that. You are supposed to deduct withholding tax from their invoices, depending on the rate is dependent. So is it, I think, between 5 to 10%, depending on the kind of service that you was rendered to you, and then you remit that to the Federal Inland Revenue Service. For you as a business owner, your personal income tax, you're supposed to do an assessment once a year between January and March of the succeeding month, and then remit your personal income tax to the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. Is there any other thing? Capital gains tax, usually depending on if you are an individual or if it's a limited liability company. If it's an individual, it should go to Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. If it's a limited liability company, it should go to the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Do you have a specific example? Mr. Samsudeen.
Hello?
I said, you have a specific example of that tax that you feel you're paying double?
Yes, I think I get clarity. I'm a telecoms, business person, and
Okay.
as soon as we get, paid, withholding cars and value-added tax is automatically removed, and I have been paying my personal income, tax too. So I guess possibly the one you just explained now, the one that has to do with my staff, maybe that's exactly what the Lagos Internal Revenue Service people came for. I don't know.
Yeah, it's likely that. And then usually withholding tax, maybe on rent that you paid, anything that has got to do with individuals in your business is for Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. And then you
Okay.
said VAT is not supposed to have been deducted by the person paying you. You are the one who is they are supposed to pay you that VAT, and then you remit that VAT to FIRS using their team. It's only withholding tax they will deduct from your invoice and remit on your behalf. So that when you need to pay your company income tax or your personal income tax, you can use that withholding tax to offset some of the tax you're supposed to be paying.
Okay. And then what are the evidence documents that we can demand from, the company who are the top 10 bigs, the company we are in partnership with?
That they remitted, they should give you the withholding tax receipt that they used to remit. And then if you have access to your account on Tax Pro Max, if you're a limited liability company, if any withholding tax is remitted on your behalf, it will be there as a withholding tax credit. So you will see there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Okay, thank you very, very much. We really appreciate if we actually have to go by the continuation. Trust me, we're not going to wrap up, and we really do need to. It's been a very interesting session, and it's been very educative. We want to say a very big thank you
Sorry,
to
there's one
MEC.
question. There's one question that I'm reading here. For a registered limited company that is yet to go into operations, when and how do they go about the tax, FIRS and tax filing? So for the, if you're yet to go into operations, you're supposed to write the FIRS office and the FIRS office, CAC and the LRS office governing within your jurisdiction, and write them that yes, you have registered, but you are yet to begin operations, and give them an estimate of when you're going to start operations.
Thank you very much for that clarification. And right now, we really do need to bring the session to a close. And this is why it's always very interesting for us to come up every Tuesday, particularly first Tuesday in the month, to learn as much as we can and have the opportunity to ask questions from experts in the field on various business capacity and development topics and courses that we need to understand. Thank you very, very much, EMC. It's been very educative. I have some questions that I'm seeing here. A part of me saying, you know what, just take your eyes off it. Another part of me is saying, for me, why don't you just let's ask this question once and for all? And another part of me is like, I have to be somewhere else by 2. But for the sake of knowledge, I would quickly ask the question from Malatunji. With the new tax law, how does it affect the personal income tax paid to the state? Personal income tax does not have anything to do with business, but is it something you want to answer?
Can you see my screen? I'm sharing this.
Yes, we can still see your screen.
Yes. Okay. So with the new tax law, the threshold for payment of taxes has increased. I think prior to currently it used to be it's anything 300,000 naira and below per annum, you pay 0 tax. Now it has been increased to 800,000 naira. So anybody earning 800,000 naira per annum and below do not pay any tax in Nigeria as we speak. Now, if you're now earning 3 million naira, you get 0% on the first 800, and then you pay 15% on this 2.2 million per annum. So this is per annum, you know, so that's 15% of 2.2 million. Sorry, let me just quickly do it. Multiplied by 0.15. So for 1 year, you pay this, and then on a monthly basis, if you're doing it on a monthly basis, you pay 27,500 naira. So if you're earning 12 million naira, you pay 0 on the first one, you pay 15 on the 2.2, and then you pay 18% on the 9 million naira, and like that. So this is just to encourage people, or to make sure that people who earn more pay more taxes. That's what this is all about. So this is what the new personal income tax would be, both for your staff and for you as a business owner. Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap. Thank you very much. And are there any last words, any advice from you, Yemisi, to the business owner before we wrap up finally?
I'll just encourage every one of us to try as much as possible to do the right thing, because it saves us a lot of stress that as possible. We follow the money in our business, and we are financially vast and aware about what is happening in our business. Thank you.
Yeah, very important. Thank you very, very much. All right. So thank you so much. It's always a great time when you, especially when you're learning, and when the learning is very interesting, you would not want to leave. But we have to call it a day. Thank you very much. Please remember that the poll is still up, and we have a very, very less number. We would want for more people to please fill the poll before we finally round up and call it a day. But then, thank you all very much for your time. Thank you for your enthusiasm towards learning. And please note that you can rewatch this on our YouTube channel, at LSETF on YouTube. Please, you can go back to YouTube and watch the video over again. Take your notes, your pen and paper with you, and write as much points that you think that would help you, you know, to inculcate the learning to your business and scale your business. No knowledge is a waste. For everything that we learn, we definitely would be needing at some point. So thank you very, very much. I really appreciate your time. I really hope that it was worth your time to learn as much as you did. And I look forward to seeing your businesses do great things out there. Thank you all. You can please follow at LSETF in order for you to benefit from all of the programs that we have running at LSETF. We are also presently supporting small business owners that are just starting business, or that are yet to structure their business with business registration. Should you be interested in business registration, please reach out to LSETF. You can reach out to us through our social media platform. You can write to us through info@lsetf.ng, and we would definitely be reaching out to you. Or you could write to me via my email to say, at LSETF, I would love for you to help me with registering my business. This is because we want to ensure that we're bringing all businesses up to speed and scale, and then we're together creating the job that we both know would help the economy of Lagos State, and we're helping somebody to stay out of the street, which is very, very, very important for every one of us. Thank you all very much. Do enjoy the rest of your day, and have a very good one. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, Yemisi.